The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
Who is completely the literal definition of addictive personality.
Okay, I can.
So
I understand.
when you go out in front of a crowd every night and you start to feel that, and then this is why the wrestling business is so great. I'm going to go back to what we started talking about, which is the addiction part, because this is truly the addiction.
Right.
And I'm going to say some shit that I've said before, but I love this comparison because it's so true. I watched a Schwarzenegger movie, Pumping Iron. He talks about how lifting and the comparison between masturbation and those kind of things.
Right.
And I've always said, wrestling, when you're a great wrestler, like for example, we were just talking about the match between Macho Man and Steamboat in WrestleMania 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
With the bullshit finish, but let me not get into that.
Right.
Go ahead.
So possibly one of the greatest fucking matches in the history of wrestling.
Sure.
You know, when I watched Steamboat talking about that, and what Steamboat said at the end of that interview was so pertinent to everything about wrestling, is he said Macho Man was so fucking proud of what they'd accomplished in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
So the part of that is amazing is when you finally get it. Dickie Murdoch said to me in Japan one time, I said, how long does it think it takes to fucking get good in the wrestling business? He said, honestly, you won't have a fucking clue till you've been in it for 10 years. And at the time I thought, fuck, 10 years, Christ, I hope I'm ready to retire in 10 years, let alone learn the fucking business, right?
And by the way, you were on a rocket ship. You were very quick on your
You had like this burst.
Yeah, and I just pissed everybody off, and that ended up being a huge cost for me. But the point of what I'm trying to say is I consider wrestling, when I finally got to I had some great teachers. Red Bastien broke me in. Rip Rogers, I've read over and over about Rippy. Rippy's probably the greatest living trainer still alive.
You trained with Benoit.
I did. I lived it with Benoit.
What are your memories of him, and what were your emotions when what went down?
Oh, I'll tell you all about it. Let me finish telling you this part about what I said earlier.
Fair enough.
Wrestling is like masturbating the audience.
Absolutely.
You go out there and you take them to, when you take an audience to the point where they're ready to come, and you go, oh no, I'm not letting you have that fucking nut yet. Not until I say it's time.
Right.
You know, when you finally really get that, and you really go out there and have great matches like that, when you finally walk away from 10,000 people a night, 18,000 people a night, I didn't know how to deal with not having, and then of course all the
First of all, I don't think anybody could deal with that, right? Because you played Madison. Look, you played some of the biggest arenas in the
Madison
world.
Square,
and being a musician,
Sumo Palace,
right? And being a musician yourself, right? And then
you already understood the entertainment factor being a musician.
That's got to be hard to get over, right?
Oh, it's like, impossible. I'm still not over it now. I still have fantasies. Fuck, I've been talking about Taker. I always thought Taker and I could have a hell of a run.
Right.
You know, two big badass motherfuckers. Because I always thought I had a pretty good punch, and Taker had a great fucking punch.
Do you think they put the wrong gimmick on you, though?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I wished I saw Stone Cold talk about the same thing. I wished I would have done what he did. I would have garnered a shitload
What
more respect.
would you have called yourself, and what would you have done to tweak what you feel went wrong?
I wouldn't have let him not let me be Max Payne.
You want to be Max Payne?
Because
that's why I'm calling him Max fucking Payne.
And the whole deal
you
was
wanted to be Max Payne?
Yeah.
all along.
Yeah.
And I let Vince put Man Mountain Rock on me, and
what was that conversation like? Did he come to you?
Yeah.
Did he say, I'm going to call you man? What did you say to him? Did you try to fight for Max Payne?
Wait a minute, to add on,
I did.
just before you think about this.
You did.
You were a musician at heart.
Yeah.
Vince could feel it.
Yep.
Right? He feels that.
Yeah.
And he's like, let me go to this guy's strength, right? Because Max Payne was a different
So
character.
Man Mountain
Max
Rock
Payne was a
was-
a Cactus Jack type of character.
Yep.
But he, being Vince, said,
But
"Look,
Cactus
this is this
Jack
guy."
wasn't broken yet.
Well,
Hold on.
they told me the reasoning behind not doing it was because I look too much like Taker, and I've always said that's not fair. That's not fucking fair. Not look like him, but my gimmick was dark.
Right, it was
And-
dark.
Right.
Okay.
And so, you know, we talked about this. I love Mark with all my heart. I think Mark's amazing. I would never say anything to degrade Mark in any way, shape, or form. All I've ever
so
said.
Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, was good to you.
Oh, fuck yeah. He's always been good to me. I don't know him that well. I really don't.
Well, what you knew of
But
him. Okay.
I went to Memphis, and Mark followed me in Memphis as the Master of Pain.
Right.
So
Right.
it was one of those things where, I guess, forgive me, I felt, so Taker comes here and he does his thing, but I can't come and be who I am because
Right.
I'm not going to take nothing away from Taker.
I thought you were distinctly different from
That's
him.
what I
so
thought.
don't-
So
I
and so
think
that's the
fair.
part. You know, I guess what really just fucking was hard for me is when they walked in with tie-dyed. I'm not a fucking hippie.
Right.
I mean, I like tie-dye. Don't get me wrong.
Did you try to argue with Vince?
Oh
when he-
yeah, I tried really hard. He just
was
said
it just
no.
you and Vince alone in the room?
And what's really fucked up about the whole deal is in my contract, they tried to take Max Payne in my contract and take the name from me so I could never use it again publicly. It was in my
Why?
contract.
Which is a very